Welcome to Botter's Muse Podcast. This podcast is all about staying ahead of the curve through the implementation of personalized one-on-one conversations with your audience. We focus on designing personas, the conversations they are having, and the technology that is enabling the dialogue. Here are your hosts, Hans and Jerome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the Botter's Muse podcast for this week. My name is Hans Vandenberg.
And my name is Jerome van der Linden.
Great you're tuning in again. It's episode 8, so other episodes are already about food CPG and for example, about market research last week. This week, it is going to be all about consumer or customer service or consumer service. And we're going to talk about the trends in consumer support and consumer service. And this episode is dedicated to a question from a listener, as they wanted to know what can you do with a bot, potentially start conversation in a customer service use case. Before we start, first our mini course. It's on botimplementation.com/PMC. So it's also in the show notes. So please go through that if you really are looking forward to implementing bots. It's about the pitfalls that we've been through and also the bot implementation formula, which ensures successful implementations. So to start off, the customer service trends. What is happening and what is changing? So Jerome, you prepared most of the pieces here. So
basically here it's about getting back to basics. I mean, it's not really so much research as going through all the data, everything that you can see online regarding customer service. The main point, which is really the main takeout, is that for a lot of companies still customer service is a real pain point. It's actually a source of frustration and detraction from customers, which comes down to the fact that they're hoping basically that nothing happens with the product, otherwise you lose a customer. Yeah, and the main challenge that most staff, most teams have within customer service or consumer service is really making that shift towards satisfaction and engagement, to have actually a satisfied customer at the end of the line and effectively somebody who can promote your brand and communicate it further.
Creating at least a brand ambassador, hopefully, after a good experience. So a lot of drivers and areas within customer service. It's very critical to of course have a personalized experience, which you plotted here, right?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I was just going through and what are really looking at all the documentation, everything that you see out there. The key point is really trying to. What you see is a balancing act. In fact, on the one hand, the customer and its demands and its needs, and on the other hand, the demands and needs of the company, which should be 100% aligned, but not always corresponding to each other. Mm-hmm. I mean, responsiveness, I think everybody knows that when you're waiting on the line with a default on your product or whatever, you're not going to want to wait a full day or 2 days or a week. Yeah? You want that response immediately. You want it immediately back. And at the same time, when somebody talks to you, personalization becomes really key, because if somebody talks to you, you don't want to, hey, sir, what was your name again? No, you want that person to know actually who they're talking with, and more importantly, take into account that your needs are personal, that your needs are very individual, and that you are the one who having those problems, not somebody else, and that you're not one of many. Yeah, one of many in this case is usually a bad thing. At the same time, when you look at the brand sees customer service or consumer service really as the representation of the brand in the daily life. I mean, it is your voice out there towards the most difficult of clients who need more information, clients who have a problem, or simply connect with your brand on any occasion of specific requirements. Yeah? So this is your moment to shine, your moment to show the best elements of your brand. So
at least that you also care when they use the product, for example. I agree.
exactly.
Yeah. It's not ending after the sale, hopefully.
Exactly, because if it's ending after the sale, you'll sell once and never again.
If it's a bad experience, for sure. Yeah. True.
Exactly.
So true.
At the same time, for a company, it is, and this is a little bit which is not always used, it's very heavily used in my old industry and in the automotive industry, it's customer understanding. When customers come back with feedback, it is your opportunity to understand, one, better usage, how are they using the products, what are they using it for, what are their needs, what are their unmet needs, and how can you integrate that in your future product.
Sure.
This is your moment to really engage with your consumer on this one. Now, at the same time, from a purely operational perspective, in any company, it revolves around cost. Yeah, cost is critical. You don't want to have a massive amount of cost, which drives down your overall revenue. And if you want to have an efficient, reactive, and human customer contact center, for instance, this is going to put a heavy burden on your bottom line, because the cost is very high if you look at the cost per customer.
Well, and I agree, especially related to the responsiveness and associated in relationship to the cost. It's definitely that we expect as a consumer to be immediately helped 24/7. But to put customer service representative on the line, sitting at the phone or answering emails 24/7, that's I would think not always working because it's too much of an investment. So
Exactly.
it's definitely balancing between at least the responsiveness, the cost, and also talking about personalization. That's true.
But then automatically you come to the last point, which is the automation. Yeah. Any ideal solution has some level of automation in it, and more we're going to a higher level of automation. I mean, you and I have both seen some of the bots which are out there, which very effectively using natural language processing and so on. And there's still a learning curve to have, but honestly, what they're bringing already is very high value. In particular, when you compare it to when you have the person on the line, actually the person doesn't really have added benefit, because the bot has already covered that part. So then the question is, do you really need that person in the end? And this is ultimately still very much the question, is in how far do you need a human element in there, and how far can you automate it? Keeping in mind that automation is immediate.
And true, and so true, and in customer service, which is a very huge, and some vendors, software vendors that we talk to, it's definitely so true that they're looking at the customer service area to improve, to reduce cost, but nevertheless, it's automating the response process. Nevertheless, you don't want to tear down your brand because it's going to be a bad experience. So
exactly.
That's definitely.
And imagine this. I mean, what I've seen is a very effective bot which does beautiful work, honestly, using the latest in natural language processing. But then, at some point, when it can't meet all the requirements, it will go to the human factor.
Right. Yeah.
And this is what created for me the frustration, is all of a sudden I need to wait for a day to get an answer.
That happens too. Yeah. You're really from a responsiveness side, and you mentioned that, right? You are in the nitty-gritty details and getting your problem solved with the bot. That hopefully also has a certain personality, but it responds instantly, and then you ask for a live person because it's not going to work and the bot cannot help. That's fine, right? You cannot let the bot do everything, but then to wait too long, that's definitely not a good thing. Yeah, that's absolutely
exactly
true.
And if you then wait and actually the response is the same as the bot, then your question goes, okay, I'd rather stick with the bot.
Agree. It would only be funny if there would be a service desk that says, hey, you can submit your email, which there's still a lot of processes work like that, and that they say, we will get back to you within a day. Then you're fine. But now you, of course, started very responsive with a bot, and then you're not very satisfied and disappointed when it then takes a day. When you would start as email and you get it in a day, you're okay, right? So it's all about expectations. So in that sense, it's definitely critical to have a human person, really a person, fall back and be available, and then hopefully soon, and quickly, on the other areas, I found some very interesting research. We will put the link in, but about how our technologies, which we talk about here as well, transforming the customer service business and the customer service expectations. Clearly, artificial intelligence and chatbots are very high. This was research from Salesforce about that 37 and 35% are definitely like artificial intelligence chatbots that they will help transform this business, right? With on top 44%. So that's the highest about cybersecurity and security on meeting customers. So meeting customers' needs. Yeah. All right.
And voice as a good middle.
Sorry. Yeah. Voice is also big. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Good points. Yeah. 38% is voice. 37 is AI, and 35 is chatbots. Yep. So true. Moving on to the main topic, which we already started about customer service. Got a question like, how can I use chatbots to optimize my customer service function or my operations or my processes? So again, looking at the bot implementation formula, we have plotted this. Within the journey of a consumer. And the journey of the consumer also starts with, I'm searching for a product. So I'm going to kick this off, if that's okay with you, Jerome, then you can do the rest of the store, finding the stores. We have another podcast about the Levi's chatbot. There I experienced when I played with it, I wanted to find a store. So from that perspective, it's always critical that that's the capability, and you can easily, of course, help that because the customer has a question. And that way, a store locator is good to go to start with, rather than browsing on your website. You can immediately ask. Now, you can do that also with voice. We see that more and more often. So get me the nearest store in New York. Then at least the bot will know, oh, store is the key, the keyword. That is critical, and New York, well, then this person will probably find a store in New York. So that would be good. The only thing is, in New York, there will be a lot of stores probably of Levi's, for example, that will definitely be important in where you're at, right? At that moment in time.
Indeed.
All right.
And hopefully it works there.
Right. Well, yeah, it totally works. Yeah, that's critical.
Okay. Then basically, which product is right for me? Always for me, it comes to comparison of, for instance, you look at, you need to describe what you're going to use the product for, your needs, your, i.e. the time of the battery, etc., whereby you come through an overall comparison module, more or less, which gives you ultimately your ideal product with your ideal solution attached to it, be it, for instance, a mobile phone or something like that.
And with those questions, the bot definitely can help.
And create some engagement as well.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully, you make it a little bit more interactive than a face down website. More about in the comparison. The bot can, of course, ask you like what type of functionality do you want to have, looking at mobile phones, what's the screen size and what's the gigabyte internal memory. You can, of course, help, a bot can help here when the customer has or consumer has questions that you look at to compare stuff and also help them find the right product from a consumer perspective in this compare mode, and also compare products, compare them next to each other, right? Because that can be done automatically as well by the bot. Provide me similar products and put them next to each other, which on a mobile phone is a little bit difficult. I agree. but sometimes you can definitely present them as well based on price or in that area. Anything to add there, Jerome?
No, I mean it comes really back to your search phase as well, and it's steering. I think the bot is an ideal solution to steer the consumer towards a specific product in terms of what he needs and so on. So ultimately, not only becomes a customer service tool, but it's also very much a sales tool in that respect. Is making it clear on what the needs are, or even driving the customer towards a product which he was not aware of that he needed it, but it fits all the topics basically that he has.
Right. And on top, I think you should look, or you could look also a little bit further and start initial conversation and engaging conversation by asking questions more thoroughly. So more being on the proactive side, start conversations than on the reactive side when PEEP hits the fan, right? That's
exactly.
That's for sure. So moving on from search, compare to decide. Yeah.
In the decide phase. Yeah, and in the decide phase, it's always about closing the deal and the concern still that a customer has when closing the deal. I mean, my main pain point is always what are the shipping policies? Living in a little country outside of the EU, but still closely linked to the EU, still has certain boundaries and so on, becomes very, very complicated. But these are elements which you always see and which are still very valid when people are making the purchase decision. When is the product coming? What are the lead times and so on?
All about the FAQs, right? Frequently asked questions.
Exactly. And it's purely an element of convenience here, giving the information proactively rather than having the customer look for it and trying to hunt for it.
Yeah, and on top, I would like to iterate, of course, when you look at customer service, look at your frequently asked questions, look at how they are currently being made available to your clients. That could be on a website. There, most of the time you see an FAQ. Also analyzing your current call lists, your emails, and look through that, browse through that, and see what are the most, well, because we're talking about frequently asked questions, that's why it became one, like with the question and answer, but then look at those, what type of information are customers asking for, and start with that, right? Start with that in a bot to work that out. And then put those information in case you don't have an answer yet because the bot is not complete. That's fine. Then just follow the regular process. So returning policies, shipping policies are often asked, especially in an e-commerce environment. So during purchase, then we also have some stuff.
Naturally, what are the promos? What are the offers on the products? What can I get in addition, basically, when I buy this product? What is really the key benefits when I buy it?
Right. Yeah. So you can always ask, right, for
exactly.
Promotional. I agree. Yeah. So, and then in usage, then of course you get, hey, how can I install this thing? How can I hopefully successfully install? When you have problems with installing it, you might also need help if you need it being repaired. Hopefully not soon and never, but then how is things with the warranty, and how can I repair myself, right? So that's definitely a good area of improving and automating customers that ask questions related to that information. Yeah, and last but not least.
And then naturally as well is what are the repair centers? How do I contact the repair person and so on? I think the mindset should always be in case of customer service and the implementation of a bot in customer service, it's convenience. What am I going to do in order to provide the optimum convenience level to my consumer? And when you integrate that, start with the key learnings from your FAQ, like Hans, you were already saying, and take it from there. What are my main questions? You have that data, build on the data and move it forward. Every brand is different.
Yeah, and another thing that I had an experience with my my dishwasher being broken. One, finding very quickly the potential user manual, which I threw away, of course, and which I thought I can easily find it online, which was a big problem. Also going on the website of this brand. I will not name the name because it was broken 4 times. But nevertheless, the thing is, then also making an appointment and all that sort of stuff was also a little bit painful because it could only call when it was open, and then I had to wait for a long time. So yeah, of course, bots can also help in scheduling an appointment. What you just need is, hey, in which area are you at? Which postal code? When do you want to have it planned? And then reserve a time block, right? So in usage and regarding repairs, you can do a whole lot. I even spoke this last week to a great Dutch company. It's Flow.ai. So Flow.ai. So it's really we're not referring here, but it's a great platform. And they even mentioned that they have a client who is in the renting business, and they used a bot to come up with repairs in the rental houses, and they really have a whole flow of and starting a conversation on what's broken, what kind of stuff, and then inform the right person to go over there, even planning. And he didn't tell that, but that's probably in. But even planning on the meeting on an agenda item, like when does the repair guy or girl come along to repair this. So this is really a great use case that you can also automate rather than online picking a date or calling a call center and a customer service to then waiting in line for some time. It's of course 24/7 availability. That's definitely a big advantage, right?
Exactly. So you can make the appointment when you're lying on your sofa playing with your telephone in front of the TV.
Right, yeah. And when something is broken and you go to the shower, you can immediately plan a meeting for the next day to repair your shower. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so and we talked also with Flow.ai, which was really cool about manufacture of electronic devices that definitely also advises people on things that are broken, right, within. So they even provide a manual when and this regards that was about mobile phones, but it was really cool that they basically have in the bot propose you with steps when your battery's draining very very quickly. They probably call customer service to complain, but nevertheless, it's not the phone. It's definitely the usage of some apps that drain a lot of power. So they even explain in the bot how you can fix that. So I think that's a very neat feature how they have implemented that to help the customers. Yeah, and you can do that indeed on the couch with your chips and your movie. Yeah,
I'm banned on chips, I'm afraid.
Okay, yeah. Well, I wanted to say and then your partner complaining that you're on your mobile phone again, right?
Exactly.
During the movie,
that you're becoming fat.
Yeah. I always say that's testing bots. So yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, last phase. We go from use to evangelize. That's what you.
I mean, ultimately, this is what customer service is about. It's having a customer who will promote your brand, who will say, I've had the best experience ever. Have you heard about this, and this? Turning the negative into a positive. And that's ultimately the point here. So here it's really about giving that little bit of extra. How did you enjoy our service? Can we support you any further? Did you hear about the latest promos? Did you hear about this? And keeping the customer in the brand and moving them forward.
Yeah, continue the conversation. Yeah, even afterwards, right? So it wouldn't be nice that you had a problem, and that you not only ask in a conversation what you normally would do, were you okay with the service, and was it are you satisfied? But perhaps a week after, what can a chatbot do? Just ask him again, are you still okay? That will be, I think, a great conversation and a great experience that you're still interested. If in the case of the battery of your phone, that the battery was still okay and they fixed it. Yeah, that would be an ideal situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so well, if you have a question for us, please do so.
Ask.
Please ask. Yeah, so that was a good trigger. botimplementation.com/ask. So there you will go into Timbo. That's our chatbot. and he will guide you to the steps that you can submit a question, and we will definitely get back to you with an answer if you have one, because it could be that we don't know. That's challenge us, and you can have a look on covering it in our podcast. So we end with a quote, and we always search for some. And
this one is yours, mate.
Right, yeah, this was coming up a lot. So I thought, like, hey, why is this coming up? I really like it. Your customer doesn't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's from Damon Richards. He's not like majorly famous, but definitely a lot of people use this. And what triggered me here was, you can, of course, and what you also mentioned, it's related to cost, it's related to brand, what we started with. It's a balancing act. Of course, you want to help your customers as quickly as possible, and bots can help with that, with reducing cost. However, the engagement and the experience, how much can you build in that you really care about the problem, and that it doesn't become a very rough technology experience in helping the customer out, right? That's that's why we always say there are three components in the bot implementation formula. It's the persona, and that's not only the persona that you provide service with, in this case the customer, but it's also the persona of your bot. And that's why I think you should also definitely indicate with some kiddiness, which you can do a lot, Jerome, which is more up your alley, but with some jokes, with some fun things in your conversations, also show that you really care, with images, and for sure that you can help the client quickly. That's the goal. Yeah. So that's why I like this one a lot. Anything you would like to add a little bit on the personas in the conversations?
No, you stole the words out of my mouth again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, I'll leave it up to next time. Yeah. All right. Now, guys, if you have a question, go to botimplementation.com/ask. And if you're definitely interested in looking at the formula, visit us at botimplementation.com/PMC. So we'd love to see you there. And then Timbo will follow up with the course. So thanks for listening. Have a great weekend, and talk to you and hear you next week. Thanks so much.
See you later. Bye.